Have you ever wondered why the most sacred place of one of the most liberal churches is still out of the reach of one of the most important segments of the society, women? Why have you never seen a woman priest or a woman deacon during the Sunday service? And if you are a woman, why are you told that you are impure during your menstrual period? And why do women have certain rules and not men when the Bible says that men and women are equal? This documentary is the result of a quest to understand a practice which has become so much a part of our everyday lives that we never questioned why we accepted it in the first place. Why we couldn't stand up and say, "Haan, daag achhe hain." Is it just because a woman was trained to accept and rationalize the same from the very beginning? Is it because it doesn't matter to men and are trained to be indifferent towards it? Is it so difficult to leave behind these gender-based shackles of the yesteryears? We spoke to people from different age groups and different backgrounds in St. Peter's Marthoma Church, who come every Sunday religiously to church, and asked them if they ever noticed this differential treatment of women. Some said yes, some said no. Some tried to be politically correct, and some didn't know what they were saying at all. Let's see what they had to say when we asked, "Kya jo tera hai, wo mera hai?"
No, I think women are given equal importance everywhere in church.
I don't think so.
No.
Slightly, yes. Probably old traditions still continue.
Yeah, now given more opportunities, I say.
No.
Yes. Nowadays it is differently treated, but it should not be. Because in Bible everybody is equal, all are equal, not to be separate.
Yes, they are.
ഒരിക്കലും ഇല്ല. കാരണം എന്താണെന്ന് ചോദിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ കർത്താവ് പഠിപ്പിക്കുന്നത് തന്നെ എന്താ രണ്ടുപേരും ഒന്നാണ്.
Well, yes, I think in some ways because we're supposed to be standing on one particular side of the church. We're supposed to be covering our head. All that is there in the Bible, of course, but there is a difference.
No, you don't think.
Was based on certain responsibilities that God has given to people. No, there's no hierarchy of things as such.
I really don't know that part. Probably because women have an extra garment they can use to cover it. Maybe men can use the hankies.
No, it's proper to cover head. In olden times, men were said to be superior than women.
We have a certain background and a history, so we have picked up that, and we have taken up. So we have learned and unlearned a lot of things. According to teaching of Paul, he says that. But you have to understand that that was in a context where there was difference between men and women was very marked, and now the change has come that men and women are almost treated almost equal level. So we have to think of reconsidering these issues.
It has to be discussed in the long forum, and a decision has to be taken accordingly.
What Bible says is correct. We cannot say anything else.
Specifically mentioned in the Bible that we should.
Women cover the head and men don't, both as a act of humility.
വേദപുസ്തകത്തിനടി അടിസ്ഥാനം വെച്ച് മുടി വളർത്തുമ്പോൾ മൂടുപടം ആവശ്യം.
ശരി, ആണുങ്ങൾ ചെയ്യണമെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടില്ല, ബൈബിളിൽ പെണ്ണുങ്ങൾ അത് കവർ ചെയ്യണമെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടില്ല. The faith has to come from here, not in what you do.
No. Not at all. Never.
No? No, I don't think women are impure.
Bible says all are pure and pure.
No, I don't.
Why should anyone care whether what is happening to me or not? No.
Because God has created everyone with equal potential and equal skill and responsibilities and all.
I don't know the answer to that.
It's a strict no as of now.
They can.
For the present system, they are not.
Yes, women should have the freedom. Women should have the freedom to enter the altar.
Personal opinion is they can, but our tradition do not allow it.
പിന്നെ നമുക്ക് വൃത്തിയില്ലാത്തൊരു സമയമുണ്ടല്ലോ, 7 days ആ സമയത്ത് കയറാം.
But our church does not allow.
We are not allowed, but we should be not allowed. It would be a very good opportunity for girls to also feel the honor of being there in the altar and serving. And I'm sure girls would be better off because they will feel better, and they could sort of give that what do you call it, the feeling of compassion and love and everything far better than men.
Yes, women can become priests.
Yes, my personal opinion is that, but our church do not allow it.
അത് അങ്ങനെ എനിക്ക് ഒരിക്കലും ഒരു പെണ്ണ് അച്ഛനാവുന്നതിന് യാതൊരു താല്പര്യവും അതിനകത്തില്ല.
They can.
Again, I think tradition and practices. I think what is continued in the olden times in the churches, they are not allowed. That is being continued even.
If they are permitted to enter the altar, then.
From the womb till the tomb, Jesus was associated with women like Mary Magdalene, the Samaritan woman at the well, Mary his mother, Martha and Mary the sisters of Lazarus, and so many more. The Acts and the Pauline letters talk about female missionaries, teachers, apostles and fellow workers who contributed towards the mission of the early church. Pauline epistles state the role of women in the ministry like Phoebe as diakonos, Junias as apostolos and Euodia as missionary. In the late 20th century, churches began to approve women ordination, and in the 21st century, churches like Baptist, Presbyterian Church and the United Church of Scotland began to ordain women. The World Council of Churches played a vital role in the ordination of women. In India, Church of South India ordained the first woman into ministry, Reverend Elizabeth Paul, in the Diocese of Madras in 1976. With regard to women ordination in the Marthoma Church, serious discussions are going on, but the church hasn't arrived at an answer or a particular stand. Church fears whether the congregation will accept women priests. Christianity emerged from a patriarchal society that placed men in positions of authority in marriage, society, and government, and the altar, being the supreme place of authority in the church, thus was restricted to men alone. The Marthoma Church has never said that women's entering the altar is a sin. It is the cultural ramifications that we have to deal with. In a few Marthoma churches across India, women often assist the priest in the altar. No visiting bishop or clergy has ever shown dislike for the same. The reason is clear. It is because the congregation there is ready for the change and accepts it. Mahatma Gandhi said, if they have accepted it, so can we. We must be the change we want to see. The male-dominated social order which one encounters in many parts of the world is partly a reflection of technologies used by these societies which are dependent more on muscle power than brain power. The modern developments in science and technology liberate women partly because human mastery over nature is now dependent more on brain power than muscle power. Women now are able to share responsibilities which were formerly exclusively male. This change in society must be seen as an act of God. This must be reflected in increased sharing by women in the priestly ministry of the church. However, the Marthoma Church presently has barriers due to custom, culture, tradition on allowing women to share in the ordained ministry of the church. It is earnestly hoped that these will break down as men develop greater consciousness of the change of times and women become willing and open to new challenges that God is opening before them. At the same time, we also earnestly hope that ways will be found so that the ordination of women does not create new barriers on the way to mutual recognition of ministry and sacraments.
Change it. Change it. If it's time to change, go ahead and change. Yes?
If women come up, maybe there will be a lot of men and other youngsters like me who will stand by them.
Not directly per se. I mean, for us, I don't care whether it's a man leading a church or a woman leading a church, as long as it is spiritual and is providing me the right direction.
The Marthoma community has always been supportive of women coming forward in the social religious perspective. But still, we have a long way to go. And it is upon us now to take the lead. Isn't it time to leave behind our prejudices?
जो तेरा है वो मेरा है, जो मेरा है वो तेरा, जो तेरा है वो मेरा है।